Testing one. Testing one. Thanks.
I do? Hi, everyone. We'll get started now. So for all of you standing, if you can please find a seat. We'll get started in 2 minutes here. Thank you so much.
You got me shouting through my neighborhood. Oh, 'cause baby, I'm feeling good. I see the world in full color, blue skies and bright sunsets. My world exploded after we first met. Oh, and I'm living with no regrets. You got me living a good life. Oh, we're putting up a good fight. It's like we're soaking up the sunlight. Oh, and baby, I'm feeling right. You got me living a good life. Oh, we're putting up a good fight. It's like we're soaking up the sunlight. Oh, and baby, I'm feeling right. We'll spread the word, we'll spread the love. We're gonna take this town. You got me hearing a fresh new sound. I'm floating 10 feet above the ground. We got our hopes, we got our dreams. We can do anything. 'Cause this is real, it ain't make-believe. Oh, and baby, we've been set free. You got me living a good life. Oh, we're putting up a good fight. It's like we're soaking up the sunlight. And baby, I'm feeling right. You got me living a good life. Oh, we're putting up a good fight. It's like we're soaking up the sunlight. Oh, and baby, I'm feeling right. Oh, you got me feeling right. Oh, you got me feeling bold. I think you got me so. I ain't returning to my old. Oh, things are looking up. We ain't ever giving up. Even after things get tough. Oh, my life with you's enough. You got me living a good life. Oh, we're putting up a good fight. It's like we're soaking up the sunlight. Oh, and baby, I'm feeling right. You got me living a good life. Oh, we're putting up a good fight. It's like we're soaking up the sunlight. Oh, and baby, I'm feeling right. You got me living a good life. Oh, we're putting up a good fight. It's like we're soaking up the sunlight. Oh, and baby, I'm feeling right. You got me living a good life. Oh, we're putting up a good fight. It's like we're soaking up the sunlight. Oh, and baby, I'm feeling right. It's the good, good life. It's the good, good life. It's the good, good life. It's the good, good life.
Where's Christina? Yeah. Hello, good evening. Thank you all for joining us today. And welcome to the demo day for the Road to Regen Accelerator Program. To kick us off will be Program Director, Christina Gunasinga.
Good evening, everyone. We are thrilled to have you all here today. Welcome to the Road to Regen Accelerator Demo Day, which is the finale to the 3-month accelerator program done by us at Good Life X in collaboration with GIZ and the EU. This program was curated specifically for early stage enterprises, disrupting the space of organic, regenerative, food and agriculture through their product and service offerings. And throughout the past 3 months, we saw these companies take acceleration in the literal sense, showing amazing growth, innovation, and inspiring us all in the process. However, selecting these 6 stars was not an easy process. We had call-outs across all our social media platforms and press adverts for 2 weeks and received 92 applications, 63% of which fit all of the criteria. So after a second and third round of shortlisting, we taking into consideration factors such as regenerative readiness, sustainability, company values, market readiness, and maturity of the business, we selected 6 companies, 3 of which are in the agriculture sector and 3 in the food and manufacturing sectors. And here's a look at our team at Good Life X that made this all happen. Thank you to all of them. And we also had 12 experts coaching the companies in the past 3 months on the areas of diagnostics, business fundamentals, Thrive, systems and processes, commercial operations, F&B, agriculture, digital strategy, finance, market access, technology and innovation, and pitch coaching. The program kicked off with the onboarding session, which was also done in the form of a community event, together with our GLX alumni and experts. During the program, we had 7 curated workshops focusing on 7 modules relevant to each of the companies. These were all physical sessions, which gave the companies a chance to interact more with the experts and the program team, while also building collaborations with each other. In addition to the 6 companies in the cohort, we also invited the 15 companies that were shortlisted to join all of these sessions, giving them an opportunity to network, collaborate, and learn from our experts. The second community event was held at Barefoot Ceylon on Saturday, the 9th of September, where the companies got a chance to sell and promote their products and services and stalls at the stall set up for them there. So the day ended with a truly eye-opening keynote address by Dr. Rohan Petiagoda, which linked perfectly with uplifting regenerative agriculture in Sri Lanka. We also had a third community event in Mullaitivu last weekend in partnership with iGrow, one of our companies, to start an agriculture-based training module. We conducted a pilot program for this with 20 participants. So, the accelerator wins. We had a lot going on in the last 3 months. New product ranges and service offerings focusing on organic or regenerative principles, developed an agriculture training module, created climate adaptive solutions for cultivations, paved the way for export market access, developed plantations based on regenerative principles, expanded production capacities, streamlined internal functions, systems, and processes, acquired quality certifications, and supported strategic partnerships and collaborations. So these significant achievements on the road to regeneration won't stop at that. All of the companies have many further developments in their pipelines, and we are really excited to see these materialize. Finally, I would like to end with a few important mentions. Firstly, thank you to all of you here and online, including all our dignitaries present, for joining us on this journey. A big thank you to Anita, Program Manager at the EU Delegation in Sri Lanka, whom we will hear from next. Thank you to our partners in the program, GIZ, the European Union, and the Support to Small and Medium-Term Enterprises in the Organic Agriculture Sector program, a partnership between the EU and the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. I would also like to thank all the program experts and our Road to Regen core team, who dedicated a lot of time and effort in the last 3 months to this program. Also for today's event, thank you to Trace Expert City for the venue, Purple Prince for event management, Green Cabin and Drunken Lankan for the curated food and beverage menu, and 4 Planet Bottles for the custom gifts in your souvenir bags. Finally, thank you to our very inspiring and enthusiastic cohort. Good Life X will continue to support all of them in building strategic partnerships and achieving their milestones. They will also be a part of the greater GLX community and have access to our experts. Thank you, and I hope you will be as inspired as we are after hearing their stories.
Thank you so much, Christina. Next, we'll hear from Anita Rashan, who is a program manager at the EU delegation in Sri Lanka.
Wow, this is a big stage and big venue. Thank you so much. I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you for giving me this chance to say a few words. But I will be very short because you are not here to listen to speeches. You are here to listen to the stories of inspiring entrepreneurs. So in fact, I just have one big message that I would like to pass. And it is that the green economy and green cooperation is our priority in Europe, back in Europe, but also in Sri Lanka. Maybe some of you have heard something called EU Green Deal. This is our big dream of several very ambitious targets. We want to make our continent in Europe greener in all aspects of society and economy. It means we want to be more organic. Organic farming is really important for us. We want to be more circular economy. We want to have less or even zero plastic if possible. We want to have environmental friendly products in our supermarkets, in our shops with recycling packaging. We want healthier food and healthier soil, which also means less fertilizers, for instance. So all in all, we want basically to green our economy and to make sure that people and environment can coexist in harmony. So this is our ambition back in Europe, but we really would like to share that goals and these objectives in Sri Lanka. That's why we are here. That's why in this context we have this event, we have this project that we did together with GIZ, and we are very happy to support initiatives like this one because this is really what we want. This is what we want to support now and hopefully also in the future because this is really in line with our green dreams. So we are happy to be part of that as well here. And I just want to conclude by saying big thanks to GIZ, big thanks to GLX team, and I'm looking forward to hear all the stories. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. It's the year 2030. The IMF bailout of 2023 is now a distant memory. Sri Lanka has relapsed and gone back to its old ways. Economic growth has slowed and income inequality has worsened. Exports of our product like agriculture, fish, and processed food and beverages have been blocked or blacklisted in our key markets because of concerns of sustainability and quality. Our companies have not properly adapted to the new supply chain transparency and due diligence rules that are proliferating globally. Corporates are fighting over the same share of the domestic economy. They're jostling to take a larger piece of an ever-shrinking pie. In the desperation to survive, they are resorting to more aggressive extraction from nature. This has caused tension in areas outside the Western province, and people in those areas are pushing back. The top-down charity and CSR models has worsened and created a greater culture of dependency. Politicians and elites are seen as saviors, and long queues of people wait for welfare handouts from them. Amidst the slow growth and limited prospects for prosperity, Sri Lankan consumers have abandoned any chance of conscious consumption and purchase what is available. Healthy food choices are seen as a luxury and out of reach. People fight to access basic food, medicines, and water. Meanwhile, change agents, creatives, and startups who once were active in finding solutions have given up. There is no interest or support amongst established corporates or government institutions to move out of comfort zone and embrace new ways of thinking. Young people are abandoning hopes of pursuing their ideas here, and even set up in nearby Bangladesh, who has become more welcoming. This is a scenario where Sri Lanka has relapsed, a scenario where the crisis did not lead to a rethinking of our approaches for business and economic growth. It led to more of the same or worse. It's the year 2030. The IMF bailout of 2023 is now a distant memory. It's the year 2030, and Sri Lanka has done a reasonable job of recovering from the crisis. The economy remains resilient. People are managing to keep their head above water. Businesses are surviving. There is some recognition of the need to do better and adopt greener and inclusive practices. Sri Lanka has signed on to international treaties on climate change and environmental protection. Corporates actively continue with their tree planting days with the staff, and there's a wider adoption of ESG reporting, and companies are making pledges on net zero targets in their annual reports. Sri Lanka started to issue its first debt for nature swap with much hype, but rushed into it, thinking only about how it can quickly solve part of the debt crisis, but didn't do much homework. At the community level, many laudable initiatives continue. Youth are active in beach cleanups and anti-plastic activism. Pilot projects on renewable energy like wind and biogas have gathered steam, but still remain marginal to overall energy production. Organic agriculture has garnered more interest, and small-scale urban gardening is a popular trend among the young people living in apartments. There is now social pressure coming from consumers via social media. Overall, there are many well-intended efforts. The economy is bobbing along. It's not business as usual, but it's pretty close. Resilience, but nothing more, has become the norm. It's the year 2030. The IMF bailout is now a distant memory. Sri Lanka has charted a smarter path for its economy and made an impressive recovery from the crisis. Corporates, communities, consumers, and creatives are thriving. Our country has become a benchmark for what a post-crisis recovery ought to be. Students from universities around the world are visiting to understand the Sri Lankan model. Regenerative principles are now at the core of economic policymaking and feature prominently in national budgets each year. Regenerative production and tourism practices are now embedded in most businesses. Young Sri Lankans are coming back and starting new ventures across the country. Sri Lankan brands are anchored to community and nature are taking American and European and East Asian markets by storm. The Oscar Awards dinner this year featured a dish with the Sri Lankan gotukola puree. Sri Lankan seaweed-based products are all the rage among Hollywood celebrities. A K-pop star in Korea was just spotted on the red carpet at London Fashion Week clutching a handbag made with hana fiber designed by artisans in Kandy. Pigeon Island National Park has become exemplary for coral reef conservation, where sustainable tourism revenues have been securitized to issue Asia's first successful site-specific blue bond. Money was raised at the Luxembourg Green Exchange. At the community level, the handout culture is no more. People are shareholders in sustainable food product companies. In fact, Asia's first community-owned seafood products brand from Trincomalee has gone global. It's featured on menus at the top restaurants from LA to Hong Kong. Farmers have gone beyond organic. Over 50% of agriculture in the country is now regenerative. Spices from the foothills of Knuckles have just been declared a UNESCO food heritage. Consumers in most Sri Lankan cities now recognize the value of circularity, extending the life of their consumption. Conscious consumer habits are now the norm. Technology has rapidly advanced, but digital is not being deployed for its own sake. It's being cleverly leveraged to transform even traditional industries. Startups, SMEs, change agents, and creatives are working closely together to find new solutions, and they find welcome partners amongst government and corporates. Sri Lanka has become a hub for regenerative startups in Asia. They also find it easier to get funding because of a new consortium of investors that have set up the Regenerative Development Bank, the RDB. Sri Lankan corporates have adopted nature as a stakeholder in their business. Many boards now have directors and understand natural capital. Climate disclosure reporting is now its own category at annual report award ceremonies, and nature and biodiversity impacts are now a key boardroom conversation. Through these, Sri Lankan banks and blue chips have raised over $500 million in green bonds from global investors. This is our 2030 scenario, a scenario in which we have gone beyond resilience, where we all thrive.
Now imagine that we are making our way into the future, where we all thrive with the heritage and the abundance of this land, combined with the fresh and the innovative ideas and also the action makers, the doers. This land, which is known by many names for its prosperity for thousands of years, and regardless of all the man-made disasters it has encountered year after year, its abundance and brilliance of its people remains undiminished. Blessed with turquoise sea, sun-kissed beaches, misty majestic mountains, lush deep green Singharaja, abundant biodiversity, purest of ingredients and elements, hella weathercomer to tropical modernism that took on the world, and of course the genuine smiles and the brilliant minds of its people. This is a map of the world centered on Colombo. Many of you might have already seen it. While the original author is unknown, this is drawn again by Geoffrey Bawa, the Sri Lankan architect. And this is exactly the way that we would like to see ourselves in the world. Wouldn't you call this island a microcosm of the best things on earth, poised for perfection? And an island that could thrive if we connect the dots between what we have, what we are good at, and what the world wants. But living in this day and age, and to be thinking of being free, being perfect, is it even possible? This is the question that we have invited the Chitrasena Kalayathanaya to explore with us, to make a segue into this evening.
Moksha by the Chitrasena Dance Company. This solo dance piece is performed by Thaji and choreographed by Heshma. Moksha examines the dilemmas of a dancer striving for perfection in life and dance. Is one a distraction from the other? In Guru Chitrasena's words, "It is through the dance that I have learnt the meaning of life. As a dancer, you come to know your body. It is your instrument. Therefore, you care for it, being constantly aware of what the body is doing. This awareness includes the effect of emotions upon the body and how the body responds. The awareness is extended to the mind, which is the controlling force behind the emotions and the body. This mindfulness integrates all aspects of your nature, which in the dance, as in life, leads to harmony and well-being. Dance and life are inseparable. They are one. It is the highest vehicle to liberation, to self-realization. Moksha."
පෙමුණි දුන් බුදු එමිනා ඒ බුදු මගුලට රැස් වූ සෙනගට උස් වූ දවුල්ද බෙර කොරණෑ තම්මැට්ටම් රැගෙනා දුජින් ද්‍රෝස්තක දජිනක කිකිනි කනක වාවා තුන් තුඹ මල් මකුරුන් තක ජිත් තක දුම්බඩ තරිකට ජිත් දුම්බඩ තරිකට ජිත් දුම්බඩ තරිකට දුම්බඩ තරිකට ජිත් කිත් තා kadadum tat kadadum tarikita dumikita
Ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful jewel of this island, Tajidaz. Let's hear it from you once again for her. As you may have figured it out by now, this is not an ordinary demo day. Some of you who might have been there for our demo days before, this is a little different. We've never had performances or entertainment acts before in our demo days. This one is different because we are really trying to appeal to all your senses. And you'll realize what I'm talking about further towards the evening. And every act, everything that will happen within the premise of this auditorium will have a meaning alluded to the theme of today's event, which is the story of a perfect island and the road to Regen. So, alluding to the performance that we just saw, why are we asking if moksha for this island, or liberation, or perfection for this island is even possible? Because we are quite aware where we are as a country and the journey that we have had so far. And we are also aware what got us here won't take us there. In order to become a country that thrives and a perfect island, the way that we perceive opportunity and abundance around us needs to change, and that needs to happen right now. And the pathway to that tomorrow where we thrive as a country is the road to Regen. In the 5 years of us doing this work here, together with partners like EU and GIZ, there are many visionaries and hard workers that we have met on that path. And tonight, I take you on a journey across the island where we meet the latest group of individuals that we have had the absolute honor and the joy to work with, who chose to stay back and take on the work of building this island to be perfect. The first story comes from the not-so-distant town of Horana in the western province of Sri Lanka, where there's a millennial mother and a father, finding joy through mindful choices while bringing out taste like no other, gathering ingredients birthed from fertile Lankan soils into recipes of simple brilliance to curate the perfect crunch for everyone to munch, with a load of nutrients and a touch of Sri Lanka to nurture the little ones to grow high and mighty. Posha Crunch, healthy yet fun.
All right. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Randula. Okay, so raise your hands if you're a mom or a dad. Lovely. I'm a proud father of our son Dimitri, that guy. So he's a bundle of joy when he's okay, but when it's his time to eat, he's like that. As parents, we know how hard it is to feed healthy food to our kids. Let me show you what he likes to eat. And also, this is what he doesn't like to eat. So as parents, how are we going to solve this? A debacle that most of the working parents have. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tommy Gopaulis, and she's my wife, Andrea Alex, and we are here to introduce Posha Crunch as the co-founders. Right, so as two working parents, we used to face this problem quite often, I'm afraid. So we wanted to create a nutritious and a healthy snack for kids, especially that can be conveniently given to the kids as working parents who are on the go always. Let's have a look at a few products in the market. So we have our biscuits, we have our Pop-Tarts, we have our rusks, the usual suspects. What's the problem with them really? The problem is in the back of the pack, in that 10%, the ingredient list, right? All of these products uses unnatural and unhealthy resources, rather raw materials. So, as Posha Crunch, we wanted to change this, right? We wanted to create a revolutionary product that has spectacular healthy values, right? And we wanted our product also to be organic, no preservatives added, and also gluten-free, lactose-free, and also 100% vegan. So, how are we going to take up this challenge? Well, coming from a nourishing country like Sri Lanka that offers a tremendous amount of nutritious natural resources, why not use them? Let's take an example. Let's take our base of the product, right? Can I ask you how many rice varieties do you all know? Maybe except for the jasmine and the sticky rice and probably your basmatis? Well, if I'm to tell you that there are traditional Sri Lankan natural rices that are low in GI and high in nutrition value, would you believe me? Let's take it as an example. Suwadal, Kalu Ratsudal, and then Kaluhinati, right? So these were the rice varieties rather, that was used to be eaten by our kings. So why don't let us, our kids, feast like kings, right? So we thought to use natural, organic raw materials that we can get from Sri Lanka, right? So we have a plethora of farmers who supplies us, the regenerative farmers rather, supplies us all our raw materials. Okay, so raw material problem is solved. How are we going to convert these precious raw materials into a product, this snack? Well, I can't tell you the secret, I'm sorry. But then my wife Andrea and our R&D team worked on it brilliantly. They came up with an amazing recipe. But I'm sure that road was not a bed of roses, Andy.
Yes. So coming up with an organic product without preservatives and to meet all those dietary requirements was not an easy task. We spent several months working on different recipes. We used different packaging materials. We tried with different moisture control, temperature control to come up with the perfect retail-ready product. Finally, at the beginning of this year, we managed to come up with the perfect recipe, and the product was retail-ready. So our retail-ready product is actually certified by Bureau Veritas with a 1-year expiry date, and is also suitable for 1 year and above. Our facility is GMP certified, US FDA certified, and at the moment we are working with our QA team, and GLX is supporting us to get ISO certification as well, because we are really worried about the quality, as this is after all for our little ones. So ladies and gentlemen, now you have heard about our ingredients. So what more makes this Posha Crunch product so unique to the market, kids market? We have our biscuits come in unique designs with animal shapes and flower shapes to encourage baby-led weaning and also snacktivities. Packaging, if you can see, has a doodle design which allows kids to color in, so it can go beyond just the snacktivity and they can learn and play as well and reuse the packaging. We also do a ton of CSR with Foundation of Goodness, which is focused especially on kids' nutrition. Last but not least, each cookie is hand cut, so we are able to provide jobs for women, rural women, and also upskill them as well.
All right, so from January onwards, we have had a rapid growth. Our sales growth has hit over the ceiling. So we are available in 3 supermarkets and all the luxury outlets and specialized outlets. And also, having a diversified customizable product allow us to go into different markets. As an example, we are available in 2 leading hospitals in the country, and in one of which they serve our snack as the inpatient snack at tea time. So, Posha Crunch is not stopping there. We want to revolutionize the global kids snacks industry. If you're willing to work with us, please come and have a chat. And also, very specially, there's a small surprise for you under your chair. If you just grab it, there's something for you. All right, cheers, mate.
You can go ahead and look under your chairs. There's a little thing. So. Okay. Thank you. Mike?
Thank you, guys. While you unwrap that, I want to take your attention to something that GLX did earlier this year to kind of unpack the meaning of the national anthem of Sri Lanka. It's available on our YouTube if you want to check it out later. But there's a particular sentence in it that alludes to new life that regenerates and awakens us all. Similar to what the millennial mother and father duo are said to do. Nava Jeevana Demine Nityanapa Pubudu Karan Mata. Awaken us every day, Mother, bringing new life to all generations. Carrying that closely in our hearts, let's make our way to the inland of the southern coast of Sri Lanka, where lies a forest of 7 layers, bridging practices ancient and novel, bridging generations X, Y, and Z, creating diverse threads and invaluable interconnections. Within this food forest lies a community on a mission, nurturing a seed planted in 1997, now grown to a regenerative farm harvesting fruit and experiences, both rich and delicious, giving a special seed to Mother Nature and her children to thrive. Run today by engineers with a passion, coming back to Lanka to make a difference. The Midigama Fruit Farm is ready to blossom.
Do you ever think that why we need to feed trees? I had this controversial idea since my childhood. I had never seen that my father or grandfather feeding fertilizer into the forest. The problem with forest is it is not getting more economical value fruits. On the other hand, in a plantations, getting more feed from outside, but it is producing more valuable fruit and vegetables. By having these two thoughts in my mind, I was thinking that why we cannot discover man-made food forest. It is going to be less feed, and again, it is going to be produce more valuable fruit and vegetables. While having this idea in my mindset, I was searching answer to this question. At that time, I met a wonderful human being. His name is Michael. He had exhibited, tested and proven agribusiness model in southern region from 1996 to 2007. Unfortunately, his land was abandoned for 13 years, but in 2021, he was searching some counterpart to give rebirth to his concept. In Michael, he has called this concept ecological agriculture. But in a modern world, people are calling it regenerative agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are called Midigama Fruit Farm. We are having vision of replicating same agro-business model into the southern region within next 20 years of horizon. When we start redesigning the ecological zones, we had pay attention for 3 main criteria. Basically, we had monocropping and the monoculture. We always believe that multi-cropping system and different canopy levels bring sustainability into the farm. Again, we have given priority for fruits against vegetable and spices. So why fruits? In the southern region, it is exhibited that having the most diverse fruit basket in the island. Today, we are not a just plantation. We are developing most biodiverse fruit forest in Midigama. After 1 year, starting from our regenerative farming, we understand that soil will take more than 3 years to get a regeneration. We had confirmed this one from Michael's old financial model. We had went into the data and we found that it is true. It will take 3 years to get through regeneration. Now, we are searching new diversification into our business. This is how we did it. We had old factory building, which is not practically possible at this time to convert into the operational level, and we decided to convert this one to new lecture hall. And again, we had an old storage building. We have converted this one to the new hostel facility. Today, we diversified our business into another 2 areas, agricultural training facility and agro-tourism, by keeping our fundamentals into the ecological agriculture. We basically equipped with enclosed lecture hall with 50 seats, and we have eco training center. You will get dining in there, and we have ecology for 24 beds. And again, we are doing sustainable food kitchen, and we follow the farm to plate concept in sustainability arena. Again, we have a spiritual hangout for the meditation facility, and we are having the yoga pavilion, which is going to give mindful wellness. We are not just producing fruit and vegetables. We are giving rich ecological experience for the society through different instruments. Today we have guided farm tours for the families and friends. Again, we have farm stay facility inside the farm, giving whole holistic experience of the farming. Again, we have deep ecological courses for the young generation to educate about ecology. It is going to be hands-on experience for whole young generation to understand what it is mean by flora and fauna. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you, come and visit our biodiverse fruit forest at Midiga. Taste 51 varieties of tropical fruits. Again, experience a rich ecology. In our farm, it is home for 63 bird species, 15 butterfly species, 21 of mammal species. Make unforgettable memories to home. You will never forget Midigama Fruit Farm forever. Thank you very much.
"51 fruit varieties." I can't help but keep, connecting to the theme relating to the Sri Lankan national anthem when I listen to these entrepreneurs, because the interconnections really are so apparent. Anybody who is making the same connection as me? Sundara Siri Barini Surandi Ati Sobamana Lanka Danya Danya Nekamal Palaturu Pirijai Bhumia Ramya. An island of serenity and abundance, rich soils in every direction, laden with grain and luscious fruit, fragrant flowers and radiant hue, an island of joy and victory. But the southern coast isn't the only place that carries all the wonder. In the core of Uva province of Sri Lanka lies a special plantation called Dev's Vanilla. Launched as a one-man operation, a retired English teacher with a vision, holding hands with his wife and sons, runs a luscious small farm of 2 acres. Growing rich veins of vanilla in the thousands, harvested with patience, spreading knowledge to local ecosystems, this little project is on a journey to create waves of change, looking to expand in the years to come, adding aroma and elegance to our perfect little island.
Yes, I wish you a very pleasant evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very much privileged to address a gathering of your nature, consisting of very many environmentalists, nature lovers, plus the business community who are always wholeheartedly to the thematic issue, Road to Regain. So did I during my lifespan of 33 years as a good teacher who was dedicated not only to the subject, to do this task, to regain and to repay the Mother Nature. So, just prior to my retirement, I was just thinking, I was just wondering, what am I to do after my retirement? It was a quest for me. So that was the time WHO banned artificial vanilla. The thematic issue came to my mind. Okay, I'm going to start planting vanilla. I started with 50 plants. Then I expanded it to 1,360 plants. By 2015, I started all this. By 2018, along with my retirement, all these flowers bloomed. It was a feast to my eyes to see the whole plantation full of flowers. Total, my family got together and pollinated, and the scene which you see at the back, it was the beauteous scenery which I experienced at that time. So not all, I didn't stop there. I educated many farmers. I wrote 2 books regarding this with all the worldly literature regarding vanilla. One was Sinhalese version, Vanilla Vagakaruvan Sandahu Margopadeshatwala. Second one was the English version, Guidance to Commercial Vanilla Farmer. It was freely distributed among all the farmers. Apart from that, I expanded 130 small little farmers who were on this road to regenerate. I'm intending to promote this up to 1,000. So the first harvest came by 2018. It was a mess. I did all the curing. It was a really mess. So I was wondering what happened to my stuff. So I collected some stuff from Germany, which came from Uganda, Madagascar, and Papua New Guinea. I tested all these things. It didn't give me a different sense. I myself had a dream. Okay, I must find the truth. I'll ask you, the audience, dear members who have gathered here, have you ever tasted the best vanilla? When and where? Do you know specifically whether it comes from the originals or the ones which have been banned? We are not sure, but I found the truth. In my Dev's vanilla plantation, what I do is, worldwide people do a processing in a separate nature. That means once a pod turns into yellowish color, they reap the whole harvest. But Dev's, and me especially, I don't do that. I reap only the yellowish turn ones. But it is very labor-intensive, doesn't matter. I give the customer the very best vanilla. I reap the harvest in separate 8, 6 or 7 intervals. So when the pods are turned, after that, I experience how to make proper vanilla. At this moment, I'm sending some samples to the local market, to some hotels, and some to France, some to France, some to Germany, and some to another nation closer by. But all these things are done through a mediator. I'm still struggling to swim upwards, upstream. I'm still struggling. Dear members of the society here, if you can find a way for me to go for the direct buyers, it will be a great help for the nation plus my organization. I must thank you sincerely, the GLX. These are the statistics what I have been doing. By 2025, I'm intending to approach a higher market with my best qualitative vanilla. I insist and say the business community, I come out with best qualitative vanilla where I can compete with Madagascar and Uganda. Take my word, I will do so. Thank you very much for lending me ears. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jayanta. You can imagine how it was for us, how pleasurable and joyful it was for us to have worked with him for the last 3 months, and he's really now family. And when I look at this retired English teacher turned farmer who continues to share his wisdom with other plantations, really without thinking about competition, what I'm reminded of, again, in our anthem, is Oba ve apa vidya, Oba me apa satya, Oba ve apa shakti, apa hadatula bhakti. You are the source of our knowledge, you are the truth we carry in our hearts, you are the strength that moves us forward, and you are the faith that we have in our conscience, which makes us truly Sri Lankan. Ladies and gentlemen, now you might have noticed a fragrance of coffee passing you by. And as you inhale the aroma of that warm and perfect cup of coffee, I'm reminded of the mountains of Nurelia, the heart of our island, 6,000 feet above the sea level, where we stumbled upon Blackpool coffee on an unexpected adventure. Greeted by warm smiles in the local cool climate, we were taught the advanced yet fascinating art of what makes an amazing cup of coffee. Handpicked by proficient locals, prepared and fermented to your preference, brewed with the secret ingredient of love in every step of this journey, for you, for me, and for Mother Nature, to make an extraordinary cup of joe. Blackpool coffee for you.
Did you know coffee is the most valued commodity after the oil industry? And Sri Lanka, Ceylon, during the British period, was the second largest coffee exporters in the world, exporting more than 50,000 metric tons of coffee to the world. But today, this cap is going to tell you a story about how Sri Lanka creeped through a loophole and tapped to an exclusive niche of the next dimension of the coffee consumers. It started with my grandfather. 20 years ago, we received some coffee plants, which back then we did not know how to plant coffee. So we began our research on farming coffee. There was a time for picking the ripe cherries. There was a time for processing, roasting, and brewing. The first sip I had of our processed coffee was the coffee that took me to a heavenly feeling for a few hours. And that's the moment I began to think of researching this flavor to the next level. 7.5 years of research into coffee, I managed to tap the secret codes of the best flavors, which are sold at high-end exclusive markets at $300 a kilo, which is the most expensive coffee in Sri Lanka at the moment. All of my 7 years of research, I had to shift the careers to aircraft engineering, which was my passion back then. But still, I continued my research on developing my flavors. Last COVID, at the beginning of COVID in 2021, I was spending more time with the trees. And throughout the 7.5 years of research, I have already gathered a group of circle of friends who are coffee experts in the world, who gave me knowledge which is invaluable for the exchange of my coffee. With the COVID, I had to spend more time with the coffee trees. And this one day, with the drizzles
in the Noor area, I heard this noise from the coffee tree. Take me to the world. Take me to the world. When I touched the coffee cherries started telling me, this is the best flavor. Take me to the world. Take me to the world. I was scared, just like other entrepreneurs. I was scared back then for capital, which was my backbone. I started my research on the coffee markets. I was scared of the market giants in the coffee industry. When the moment of an idea popped in my head as a business, I wanted to make the premium cup of coffee. If anybody in the world having the best cup of coffee, it should be my brand. That was my sole intention. So I was scared of the big giants. Then I started my research for 3 weeks. Less sleeps, no food. But 3 weeks later, out of the dark, I saw this tiny dot of light, a loophole to take coffee consumers to the next dimension of the coffee consumption. To bring the third wave coffee consumers in the world to the fourth wave of coffee and create an environment that is more suitable for the coffee consumers. As we speak, 2.5 billion of cups of coffee are consumed all over the world. There are 2 billion coffee consumers in the world. Out of that, 50% of them spends more than $5 to $6. That means 1 billion coffee consumers spends more than $5 to $6 a cup and drinks 5 or more than 5 cups of coffee a day. So this was my market. This market had a uniqueness and a gap to the flavor. The chain, starting from farmer, processor, roaster, and barista, was lacking one flavor, which was the fifth flavor: love. Creating the chain of coffee with love was the sole intention. Adding love to the coffee consumer brought us many achievements through 2 years. We won the World Bank recognition to our expansion. That was a great success. We won Silver Award at the National Industry Awards at the first year of business with no machinery and a very basic room for manufacturing. Today, as we speak, this is the beginning of our third year. We have brought the latest coffee roasting machines in the island and has opened a market of 140 metric tons per year. First year, without no machinery, by manually, we did 1 metric tons. Second year, with minimum machinery, we managed to do 6 metric tons. Third year, starting from now, we have the capacity forecasted 140 metric tons for the year. In the next 5 years, we are planning to target this 140 metric tons, which will enhance 100 more farmers to our family, 1,000 more direct and indirect jobs to the society, 100 acres of land to our plots, and starting from 16 countries to 30 countries with the brand. Plus, we are already developing a blockchain system to trace our farmers, plus a mobile app to bridge the coffee consumers. I was sharing the success, but let me share what we do to the society. In a regenerative model of profit sharing, we allocate 9% from our income to the mentioned groups on the board. So, my dear coffee lovers, let me introduce Blackpool Coffee. A coffee company which does not only sell coffee, but spreads love, passion, and peace to the world. Thank you.
Having a single conversation with Asita is like taking a fine shot of espresso. So be warned, who's going to talk to him at the demo, at the demonstration table, you might not sleep much tonight because you'll be, sparking with all his ideas, and the light and the sharpness of his mind will really give that boost and energy to anybody who has a conversation with him. And he really reminds me of this particular verse in our national anthem, Oba apa aloke apage anuprane, oba apa jeevanave. You're the light which guides us, our inspiration, life, and liberation. So, from the misty mountains, I now take you to the dry zone of Sri Lanka. We were there just a few days ago. Making ripples in the Vanni, in the north of Sri Lanka, is a place where dreams are made of. Taking a few while giving back plenty. To move this island from extractive to regenerative. Keeping life in our soils oozing with richness, agile in their ways, with purpose at the center. A farm on a mission to educate, with novel tech to cultivate. A farm on a path to revolutionize the meaning of agriculture. A farm by the people, for the people. To grow, to inspire, to empower. I grow for you, Mother Sri Lanka.
When I was 10 years old, the last civil war, 3 decades of civil war came to an end. I born and grew up amidst of the war. When I was looking around, my colleagues and the people were migrating themselves to other countries. And a couple of others were trying to migrate. I also had to go through the same situations. But I always listened to my parents as they say, my son, do what your heart says. I have decided to stay back and transform the story of our generations. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ani, coming from deep north of Sri Lanka. I have launched my first social venture called Dreamscarp, which is in Mullaitivu, to empower the underserved communities, especially by war-affected communities. So we work with young people, entrepreneurs, and children and women entrepreneurs to empower them in the grassroots level. While I'm serving for Dreamscarp, along with the potential team that we created in our district, we found the abundance of land resources are being untapped. While we were building the solution, I got a chance to meet a guy who was selling his 12 acres of land to send off his child to abroad. I ended up with buying the 12 acres of land with no idea. But something was in heart to do something that I bought. Ladies and gentlemen, how can we convert these 12 acres of land for a sustainable farmland? How can we incorporate the tech to make our resources more efficient? How can be a farming be a viable solution to the entire community in the rice zones like us? That's where we started. We invested in the 4 acres at the beginning to know and learn and explore. But we had so much of enthusiasm and passion to do that. But unfortunately, we ended up with something disappointments. We couldn't get what we really expected in our harvest. I was thinking, should I continue or should I give up? I went back and talked to my grandfather and listened to his stories, the person who has been almost 50 years on the field, and went back to the farmers' community and talked to the people and listened to their stories. But I understood only one point. The pain of the farmers in the grassroots level is the same what we have gone through. We just gone through for a year. They've been going through for a decade. We realized we need something alternative approach in the dry zones that can be done by us, that can be a model to the entire people and the entire community. That's where we come to the conclusion to make an integrated farm with the livestock. Not just integrated, along with the tech. We created a team, we built a team to come up with the solutions to our integrated farm in the 12 acres to develop something good at irrigations, where we failed in the dry zones to rebuild that. Couple of years back, we looked back our revenue. The revenue streams has been increased by multiple crops. Our labor forces almost increased by the 40%, the efficiency, the productivity of our farm. And each crop has been almost increased by 17%. Ladies and gentlemen, that is iGrow. I'm happy to introduce the venture. That model can be replicable in entire island where the people have same issues in the dry zones. We connect the people who left the country, who left their own land to come back and reinvest and to support the farmers in the local community. We train the people in the grassroots level to the model farm and providing them hands-on training and also plus consulting, where they can thrive to the right path. That was our vision. That's our mission. Every stage that we enhance our growth and we ensure each farmers, they've been secured and they feel it's a professional that do and that can feed the world. Thanks for listening to me. It's time to transform the stories of our generations. We are the backbone of the generations. Join with us, let's be transformed. If you have untapped land, iGrow is here to translate your land into potential revenue making for you and your community and the environment. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Ani. You know, when we took on to do this workshop with Ani last weekend, actually, which was called the Future Farmer Workshop, one of my friends, very close friends who resides in Jaffna said, look, Mullaitiyu is very hard to do anything. People never turn up during weekends. They never turn up for anything beyond what they are currently doing. So if anybody turns up for this Future Farmer Workshop, I'll be surprised. And Ani has actually would have done a lot to change how Mullaitiyu really worked. And I'm very happy to say that we had a full house at this Future Farmer Training Workshop. So Ani really is redefining the Wani with his new narrative on agriculture and connecting everyone who shares this vision across the island. And this reminds me of this phrase, "Ekamavakage daru kalabavina yamu yamu vinopama." We are the children of a mother Sri Lanka, setting aside all differences, we march forward as one. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, let me take your attention to the final story of the day. 5,000 years ago, the Hidden Ages, where Hela Vedakama reigned, the sacred Eastern arts of healing prospered in our nation. Ancient knowledge buried while thousands of years passed. The 21st century dawned. One husband and wife, stemming from roots of academics, were determined to resurface what was lost. From the town of Kalania, herbal care was born to heal the nation and radiate our goodness to the world.
Ayubowan, may you live long. When you wake up in the morning, do you really feel happy and confident about yourself? We apply so many layers. We gulp so many capsules. We never know how much toxins will seep into our cells and how much the environment will get polluted. It's so pathetic unless we follow the correct, perfect regime. I always love nature. I admire her beauty. I appreciate the way she looks after us. I was so inspired by my grandpa. I tried my best to heal the community. I witnessed how they suffer. And also I noticed the abundance of natural cure surrounding us. My life partner, together with us, we established herbal care industries. At the beginning, we followed a B2B model, supplying the nature product, the nature produce for our suppliers. We carefully got the high quality essence of these natural produce. And then the suppliers were very greedy about money. They forced us to include the ingredients which are toxic. We never agreed. Then we lost our business. Upon that, we had the COVID epidemic. We suffered a loss. We lost our beloved ones too early. Upon that, we had to suffer due to the economic recession in Sri Lanka. That was pathetic. The community suffered a lot, and we didn't get any business at all. We were so disappointed. But yet, our son motivated us. We started the business again with much energy. We set up a roadmap focusing on 3 strategies: to be regenerative and inclusive, to be agile and abundant, and also to develop resilient and respectful relationships. We did research in collaboration with the universities, with the academia. We wanted to make sure that we give the best produce for our valued customers. That was our intention. We had partnerships. Aloe vera, the plant of immortality. This plant is so tolerable. It is adapting to the so many changes of the climate. It never dies. It's so adorable. With the least support, they survive, converting the carbon dioxide in the environment to the bioactives within the cells, producing us a lot of medicine, food, and also, who is this? Selama from Jaffna, my good friend. She's the most important stakeholder of our supply chain. I learned a lot of things from her. We are good friends. She's old, yet she works very hard. She's so generous, not only for us, even for the plants. Aloe vera is having so many properties. It can be used not only for food, not only for cosmetics, even for pharma. So this is our mission. So we applied so many strategies to make sure we follow the sustainable sourcing and we follow the ethics, and also we keep our margins. Thinking about the future, we made sure that we have enough plants for the growers over there so that we will have a sustainable supply of good quality raw material. We did a lot of research. With the innovative and the skillful hands we made a range of products. Natural hair oil with so many properties which will make us perfect with least gray hair and long and thick hair. Look at the business growth. Well, all of us in our group, we thrive with much endurance. Let's team up and make a difference. Let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lekha. As she leaves the stage, I'm reminded of this particular verse in our national anthem, Apahata sapasiri seta sadhana jivane mata, piliganu mana bhakti puja, namo namo mata. Our motherland embodies a spirit of comfort and luxury, beauty and grace, peace and well-being. Giver of life and all good things, we salute thee, Mother, from the bottom of our hearts. This is not me saying, this is not our words. This really is in the national anthem of Sri Lanka. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have traced ourselves back to where we started on the road to Regen. The 6 companies are a shining example of the work that is already being done to create the perfect island you and I both dream of. And our part as Good Life X is to connect the dots for these dreamers and doers and many more like them as they take on the world. Not only with programs like this one, but also through multiple parallels that we are creating through our work, from building new regenerative business models that we launched earlier this year, that questions structures that doesn't work anymore, that probes businesses to think how much is really enough, making space for conscious investments, building bridges among creatives and innovators, school leavers and grandparents. We've been making small, unorthodox strides for the last 5 years, and now it's showing signs of changing large systems as a whole. So everybody, thank you very much for joining us this evening. The night is still young. There's much conversations that awaits for you. And so while I make way for my colleague to join me to really conclude the night, thank you once again for being here. While you scan these QR codes, you'll be able to listen to the full decoding of the Sri Lankan national anthem on the first QR, and on the second one, you'll be able to look at all the other services that we offer as Good Life X. And our continue on the road, our journey on the road to Regen does not stop from here. This really is the beginning, and we are still very, very much in touch with the other cohorts that has worked with us over the past 5 years, where we have now built a thriving community of 125 entrepreneurs. And these people that you have heard from today will be joining them from this evening. Emma, do you want to conclude with me?
Thank you so much, Randula. And thank you, Randula and Usita, who's in the audience today, for all of the curation of the event that you witnessed today. I also have to thank wholeheartedly Chitrasena Dance Company, who honestly blessed us today. It was an honor to have them perform today. So with that, shortly we'll have Music Matters Jazz Trio join us on stage. But we also have a wonderful menu set by Green Cabin, who's cooking in the back, as well as a curated menu by Drunken Lunkin using some of the products from the companies. So please stick around, get to know the entrepreneurs a little bit better. They'll be here all evening, and our team is around, all in our pink t-shirts. If you have any questions, we're happy to help you. So thank you so much again for joining. It's been wonderful to have you, and cheers. Have a great night. Thank you.